Delusion has no cause. Only right thinking brings joy. People often assume that delusions have a cause, but in reality, all delusions are without cause and are simply mistakes. Delusions aren't something we're born with. They're cultivated through repeated training. For instance, from a young age, adults or teachers always tell us to think about it. But the truth doesn't require thinking. 1 + 1 = 2. It's a plain fact. If you insist on thinking about it, trouble begins. The more you think, the more likely the answer strays from 2. Once you get into the habit of overthinking everything, after a while, you stop caring about the facts and just start thinking first. But for those who follow rules, the rule is the rule. 1 + 1 = 2. No need to overthink it. However, if you insist on mulling it over and this habit of thinking about it gets reinforced too much, people begin treating thinking like a mathematical rule or principle. The result? They're always wrong. Because 1 + 1 can only be 2. It's defined by principle and rule. But when you start overthinking, all sorts of random, irrelevant ideas creep in. The more you think, the broader it gets, and the further you drift from the truth. In short, remember this: delusion only leads to mistakes. Errors in small matters might be tolerable, but in big matters, one mistake could ruin everything. Thus, all delusions are unreliable because they only produce errors. So, what is a delusion? That's called right thinking. Right thinking isn't delusion. What is right thinking? It's seeing what is as it is. And what isn't as it isn't, no reliance on wild imagination. If it's a math problem, you strictly follow the principles and rules to reason it out. That's right thinking, not delusion. If you abandon the rules, everything becomes delusion, to the point where you might not even know who you are. Take a monk, for example. If they forget they're a monk, isn't that delusion? Delusion inevitably leads to mistakes and makes things worse and worse. So what are the Buddhist precepts? They're rules to follow that guarantee you'll fare well, find joy, and escape suffering. If you follow delusions instead, all you'll get is suffering and you'll lose joy. It's that simple. What's a monk? Someone who absolutely adheres to these rules. By sticking to them, they find joy and leave suffering behind. Now, consider the joy that delusion promotes. Try it and see how much joy it really brings. Delusion might tell you, weeding the fields is too tiring. Lying down is comfortable and effortless. So lie there. If that's joy, don't move. Just stay in one position for days and see if it's comfortable. If lying down were truly pleasant, it should get more comfortable the longer you do it. So why does it end up feeling miserable? Because the illusion of delusion wears off. Its false veneer fades and the truth emerges. It's suffering. But look at having more money. It doesn't get more painful the more you have. It gets better. No one says, I'm so miserable with all this wealth. Starting with $1, then 10, 100, 1,000, and eventually spending 10,000 at a time. No one says, spending 10,000 hurts. Back when I only had $1 to spend, it didn't hurt. What does this prove? True blessings grow more comfortable the more you have. They don't cause discomfort. But fake things like overeating or oversleeping are deceptive. The moment they pile up, they stop being comfortable and their falseness is exposed. They aren't true comfort or real joy. True joy grows with abundance. That's real. The fake kind falls apart eventually, leaving you with nothing but suffering. So, delusion specializes in fooling people with illusions, only to leave them with suffering in the end. In conclusion, delusion is without cause and is wrong. Heeding it only leads to constant mistakes and creates suffering. It can never bring joy.